Good afternoon and welcome to the Tuesday, March 28th, 2023 Public Works Committee meeting. Now is time for a roll call and determination of quorum.
Here. Evans.
No.
Roberts.
Here.
Ham.
Here.
Roseland.
Here.
Quorum is present.
Thank you so much. And now is time for adoption of the agenda.
Move to adopt.
Have a motion to approve by Councilman Evans, a second by, why am I losing? Oh, Pat. All in favor? All opposed, motion passes. Now it's time for general public comment. This is a time for members of the public to discuss or express concerns to the committee on any issue, not limited to items on the agenda. Action will not be taken at the meeting on any issue not on the agenda, except by placement on the agenda by unanimous vote of the council members present. I have no general public comment speakers. Don't see anybody jumping up and down, so I will open and close that. We'll move on to consent items, items 1 through 4. I will open public comment. I don't have any speakers on items 1 through 4, so I will close public comment and we will move on to items 1 through 4, and I will ask Director Tech to take over if he would.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll speak to items 2, 3, and 4. Item 2 is the addition of some city work licenses to our existing contract. I believe we're adding a total of 6 licenses, and the amounts for the upcoming years are shown there. Approximately $17,000 a year. CityWorks is our work order software, if you will, utilized by the operating divisions in Public Works to ensure that workflow is recorded, as well as being able to close work orders out as well to ensure that the work's being done and properly recorded. And items 3 and 4 are purchases of vehicles by our solid waste division. These are budgeted items, and that's all that I have today.
We've got a question from Councilman Evans.
Mr. Tech, I do.
Here, use
There it is.
Okay.
What is our criteria for deciding the pickups and stuff are too old? Do we have a mileage thing? Do we have how do we decide what needs to be replaced? I'm just curious.
It's normally condition. Our vehicles are serviced by our fleet maintenance folks at the street department. I can assure you that every vehicle that is used at solid waste has reached the end of its useful life. In fact, these are the first 3 new vehicles that solid waste has purchased in probably the last 10 years. Typically they get hand-me-downs. We try to utilize every bit of mileage and metal out of our vehicles that we can. So I can assure you the vehicles that these are replacing are probably going to scrap.
Okay, just curious,
Yeah.
because I'm really cheap, as you know, so thanks.
Great question.
Thank you. If we have no other questions, I'll look for a motion on it. Have a motion by Councilman Evans, a second by Councilman Ham. All in favor? Aye. All opposed, motion passes. On to consent items. Items 5, I will open public comment. I do have one speaker on item 5 from Rick Asvik.
I'm here to talk about the replacement of the yard waste dumpsters on the Anamosa site. I realize that it's become a real pain in the butt because there's so many people that do not abide by the rules. I don't know what the city's cost is to pick that up. I know that a lot of the citizens in North Rapid would like to see it back. because it's convenient, and a lot of them, frankly, the older ones aren't able to go out to the landfill to drop off their yard waste. And I would like some input on it, because on the cost of it, because I know it's expensive to go over there and pick them up, and that's not so much the expensive part as having to sort through it and to pull trash out of the trees and the yard waste there, and the recycling, because people can't read apparently, or don't want to, or don't care. Other than that, I mean, I would like to see it put back in place. There's some options that could be done. I think if you speak with Menaloosa Senior Centers, we may be able to come up with some people to man it, you know, if need be, to patrol what comes in and what's dropped off, rather than just a bunch of junk. So I'm looking for input on that too. So with that, thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, I have no other speaker requests, so I will close public comment. We'll move on to items 5. Direct staff to write ordinance requiring the remote yard waste and recycle sites to be opened. We have a speaker in the queue, Councilman Lehman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Tech, can you address Mr. Aspig's questions? And I do believe this has been handled administratively correct?
Yeah, in fact, we've been advertising on our solid waste website. We will have all remote sites open this year. So the north site and the west site, beginning May 1st, and that's also the date that we will start the curbside yard waste collection. So we are geared up. It's not necessarily a cost issue that we ran into last year. It was a human resource issue. We were short so many employees. We have been able to, I won't say fully staffed, but we're in a much better position this year to man those sites. Our equipment is in okay shape. We still are lacking some equipment. The lead time on purchasing larger trucks and larger trash collection equipment is months, if not years. And so we're in a position, there is a big cost. I think we're about $500,000 in a year just to service the remote sites. So that's a significant cost to the city. Yes, there are additional costs when the waste streams become polluted. We do have to spend a little manual labor to try to rectify that. We are looking at, or at least put some costs together for fencing the sites and controlling the access to that. We're probably looking at excess of $200,000 just to do that. We could put up a security system. I don't believe that a security system is going to do a lot of good, because then that would take time to review video footage and try to find people that are, we just don't have that resource either to do an enforcement component to that. So, you know, a volunteer manning of the sites would be great. I don't know what that looks like, but that certainly would be beneficial. Most of the abuse that we see occurs at night.
Right.
So securing the sites would be one thing, and then manning them during the day would be we computed about an $80,000 if we annual effort if we were to employ people to man the sites every day.
So, I lost my
Mr. Asvik.
lost my train of thought for a second.
Mr. Asvik,
Yes.
you just don't speak. I mean, you had already spoken. I'd let you out of the queue.
Oh, okay.
So, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask a question if Mr. Lehman is done. And this is for the yard waste and the recycle, correct?
Correct.
You're going to make hundreds of my constituents very happy.
Yeah.
I probably have never had more phone calls on one issue than this one in the last year. You know, and it's interesting because one of the things that I saw after this closed was how many people were putting, especially cardboard, in their garbage cans, and the cardboard was sticking out rather than, you know, like they used to take it down and recycle it. And I imagine that that costs a lot separating that.
Well, there's actually no market for cardboard, so we're not able to sell it.
Oh, okay.
So we were telling people, put the cardboard in your garbage if you absolutely necessarily have to do that, if you need to dispose of it. So yeah, we try to keep the cardboard separate so we can make sure the volume is reduced before we process it. So yeah, it's you know, our priorities are we need to do our daily trash pickup around the community first. First and foremost, we need to service our residential customers. And that's the issue we had last year is we were short-staffed and we need to make sure that that priority gets taken care of before yard waste, remote sites and recyclables.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people didn't understand that. And I think a lot of people, you know, especially, again, my constituents in North Rapid, were a little bit upset that if this was that kind of an issue, why only the north side was shut down and why we didn't shut down the west side too. And I understand it. I mean, if we'd have shut down the west side, we'd have had hundreds of people in here compared to shutting down the north side where we just kind of seemed to take it. So anyway, with that, I'll get out of the queue. Mr. Evans, did you?
Just a couple comments.
Absolutely.
As you recall, I kind of spoke passionately a year and a half ago or so against, 2 years ago, however long it's been, against closing this. I felt the inconvenience to the constituents was not, you know, justifiable. I still think we should explore security camera systems so that when a big occurrence of some kind of vandalism or some abuse does occur, I can't imagine it's going to take that long to scan back to a camera and find that person and find them. And I think it would be worth the investment. And as I recall, you guys, the employees, were quite against keeping this open, and the council is now kind of pushing it to reopen. So I just want to make sure we're all in consensus here about where we're going with this. Because I believe the whole impetus to shut it in the first place was driven by the staff. So just want to make sure on that I'm not confused. Correct me if I am, because you know how I get confused. I guess that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. So the motion was there a motion? Would you like to make a motion on this?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to make a motion to table this item for the time being.
What's that?
Make a motion to table the item for the time being.
I'll second that.
We have a motion to table and by Councilman Lehman, a second by Councilman Evans. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. We had, we can, yeah, if you want to take a roll call, we can, because we did have one nay.
Roberts,
Aye.
Ham. Roseland. So I have 5-2-0 in favor, correct? No. Who said no?
So we,
Pat's a no.
Pat's a no and the rest are
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
Looking for a motion to adjourn? Have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor? Motion passes. Thank you very much.